Hello everyone, good evening. It's my first video in a few days. I got my dog right next to me. Brian Jennings here, the Critical Sorcerer. This channel exists to discuss the nature of reality I see through the crucible of my psychic eye. The metaphysics of the mind. Literature, philosophy, painting, etc., etc., etc. All the things worth discussing. It's also worth discussing the nature of my relationship with Quentin Tarantino in relation to the movie Critic. I'm the reason Quentin canceled his 10th and final film, The Movie Critic. And now, as a result of my cowardice, it's my fault. It's not his fault, it's my fault. He despises me and has created a case study in remote viewing between the two of us. And so that's put me in fear for my safety in my life, because the only way to rectify the nature of our psychological dispositions is for us either to reconcile or for one of us to die. So, I don't want to die. I suspect he doesn't want to die. He has small children. He wants to see them grow up. And so, if there's no intent in his heart to reconcile, then it is a safe assumption for me that he wants me to die. Because the amount of time that he spent remote viewing me has bonded us in such a palpable way that neither of us will ever outrun each other. No matter what he tells everyone, like in like certain circles, the people that are closest to him are all aware. They all know. They all know. Because we all have our predilections, don't we? But I went to theater rehearsal, 12th night, if you recall. And of course, I'm a huge hit, which is a source of his disdain, because he set me up to be a movie star, right, on the highest levels. And I thought it was funnier, or I was more interested. I didn't think it was funny. I never thought it was funny, but I thought it was more appropriate to be an asshole, to be a loser. And I have my reasons, and they're not invalid necessarily, but they are petty, they are shallow. Right, that he, right, and of course I'm referring to the screening of Jackie Brown that occurred last year. He spent that time talking with Robert De Niro, setting me up to become an instant movie star. And I didn't want to see that. I was too caught up in like my psychological like bullshit. And I'll always regret that, of course. I'll always regret that. Not seeing, right, the magic and being intuitive and being, right. But I don't think that that's a death sentence. I don't think that that gives him the right to murder me. That's where we're at. That's like I have a therapist. I'm of sound mind. Right? I know that the things that I'm saying, like, it's a tough pill to swallow. I am, and I quote, PhD, right? Deborah Katz tells me, you are under psychic attack. That's what she told me. Right? So why did she tell me that? Right? Because I emailed her and said I'm in the middle of something really dangerous, because Quentin exerts his clairvoyance upon me however he sees fit, however he thinks is appropriate, and leads me to believe that he's going to murder me whenever he wants. Because that's like, it's a joke to him, it's a game to him. That when I like reach out to the press and say, oh, you don't know what's going on, like please just release the footage of Jackie Brown so that the world can know what occurred, that it's my fault, it's not his fault, it's my fault, but it's time to like bring everyone into the conversation. He goes, oh, ha, 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 ha. And so during one of those like rants where he was like, yeah, I got him, he seems insane. I wrote this woman, Deborah Katz, and I was like, yeah, like here's the deal, and she was very sweet. I have nothing but appreciation for this woman. And she said, oh, like you need to get a therapist and all these things, and I'm not going to go back and forth with you. And then I was like, well, check this out, like check this out, check this out, check this out. And then she replied again and said, you are under psychic attack. And so what does that tell you? Right? If you're watching this channel, then likely you've been watching it for a time. And so what I'm saying is that the two of us are embroiled in a kind of clairvoyant connection as a result of remote viewing. And so as far as Deborah Katz is concerned, that's how she arrived at her conclusion. that she remote viewed me, right? Having no information beyond the email that I sent her. She had no picture of me. She doesn't know who I am from Adam, right? But she's a pro. And she closed her eyes and she saw some sort of hideous malignancy hovering over me in magnetic effluvia. And that's the highest levels. Like these are like, this is like, that's what we're touching on here. Right? No amateur hour. And so I honestly, I have to admit, like, I understand why in his mind he was like, oh, this guy's an amateur. Like, this guy, like, he doesn't understand what's occurring. And so he tried to exert, right, his clairvoyant pressure upon me to such an attenuated degree that I would blow my brains out. Everything that he's done has been to make me kill myself, to commit suicide, so that, right, he can have my intellectual property for free and be free of me as a psychic malignancy. And this is all his doing. It's not my doing. It's not, like, I never signed up to play this game. I just had no choice but to play it. And I know how to play it. I'm a fucking pro. Right? So now we're talking about it. That's why the channel exists. And it's hard, and of course it's difficult. Everything that I did was just to see, right? I did nothing but write him letters from the heart. That's all I did. 4 letters from the heart. Like, that's it. Like, yeah, like, I'm not a normal guy. Like, yeah, like, that's not 4 normal letters. Like, it was like a clear, like, oh, this is why you should cast me as the movie critic. And it was a goddamn awesome argument, and it still is. Right? So, he read the letters, he paused his production, and then he got a bunch of pressure from everyone around and said, oh, no, Brad's a bankable star, etc., etc. He didn't pay attention to the letter at all. Right? He paid attention to everyone around him instead of his heart in the letter. And so when he said nothing to me, I said, oh, okay, I see. You're a cool guy. I get it. You're a famous guy. And so that made me write my 7,000-word essay. Extremely critical of him, Brad Pitt, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. How that movie only works because of Brad Pitt's spousal abuse. How no one in the industry made any honest criticisms. And then when I started reviewing movies in protest, because The Movie Critic is a movie about a guy who reviews movies, he canceled the film after my 3rd one, which I tweeted directly to him. This is all, like, it's done. It's done. That's why he canceled it. That's actually why he canceled it. He didn't cancel it for, like, oh, poo-poo, I stick my nose up at the process. Like, no, he was making the movie. Right? So there's 2 ways of asking the question. It's like, it's not the answer, it's how you ask the question. Right? That's what Chekhov said. And it's true now in this instance. Why doesn't he want to make the movie? Oh gosh, I don't know, but poo-poo, it's not working. Like, I have to make LA old again. That's one answer. Right? Another way of phrasing the question is, who's giving him a reason to not make the movie? And I'm the only one. Because I was reviewing movies in protest. So, he canceled the film, remote viewed me for 3 fucking months. It was 2 months, not 3. Telling me what he wanted me to do. And when I stuck my letter up to his face, in that moment, knowing that he stopped accepting my mail, he stopped reading my letters, when he stuck his nose up at me and turned his back on me, right? That's the direction I took. And it was stupid. I acknowledge that. But from there, he used the same tactics, right, to make me appear completely insane to the entire industry. Until I started remote viewing him at the first of this year. Like, this saga is like going on 2 years now. And then he admitted that everything he's been telling me is bullshit, and that, right? And so that's why I say, oh, he wants me to die. Like, he didn't do this. Like, if there's no expectation of us, like, embracing and calling each other family like we're supposed to, right? If he's just like, no, meh, right? Then the only logical conclusion is that he wants me to blow my brains out because he's engendered such a condition within his mind that he is not well. He's engendered a mental illness in his mind, right? That will be greatly alleviated by me no longer living. And the same can be said for me too, right? Like that's my point. That it's a two-way street. But less so for me, because he has other people that are also playing this game with him. And so I talk about it now because it's time to talk about it. That's all. Not because I'm interested in telling everyone that I humiliated myself, or that I humiliated Quentin, or that I'm a loser. Like, that doesn't, like, I gain nothing in that. I gain nothing in the telling. But all the same, I live in palpable fear that he's going to hit his breaking point any day and send someone to murder me. And so if he has no trouble with us living in the same space at the same time, then he doesn't mind telling the truth about the movie. That's my point. Right? That he wanted it to be this like secret, like occulted thing, and that's like not how my mind works. Right? So we have to talk about it. And it's upsetting every time I think about it. Him and his friends, like, they all get coked out and they just like mock me relentlessly. That's what occurs. Right? They're like, oh, ha, 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 fuck this loser. Like, we can torture him forever, and he has no money and no resources. It's really sick evil. And I'm writing about it. I've been writing a lot, and that feels good. It's coming out of me. It's pouring out of me. Right? The kind of story that Leonardo DiCaprio is not quick to forget. Right? So, but it is a palpable fear, a palpable concern in me. This is why I talk about it. That at any point, right, he's going to hit his breaking point. Like, I could say that I'm at my breaking point now because I suspect that he is in a big way. But I have no money. I have nothing. Right? It's easy for me to say, oh, God, I got to get rid of that guy. But I have nothing. Like, what can I do? Right? However, right, if we put the shoe on the other foot, he has $300 million, doesn't he? And he knows exactly where I live as a result of the letters I sent him. Right? So essentially, like, what I'm saying is that, like, I didn't realize what I was signing up for, I signed, when I didn't give him what he wanted, I signed up for a lifetime of uncertainty, a lifetime of looking over my shoulder, a lifetime of war, of psychic siege. And it's so frightening that I have no choice but to talk about it. And he has literally an army of people around him, all insulating his evil. And I've emailed the press, I emailed this woman, Deborah Katz, and eventually she did admit, like, yes, you're under psychic attack. And that meant a lot to me, but she doesn't want to believe what I'm saying. Because it's a tough pill to swallow, because the things that I'm alleging are pure evil. It's not like evil adjacent, right? Like, it's as ugly as it gets. There's nothing sanitary about what's occurring in terms of mental health, psychological stability. It harkens to the notion that Quentin is very depraved and has a great darkness in him. And I suppose I could have guessed that, but I was naive. And in that way, number one, he didn't impose his knowing upon me in a more palpable way, and I didn't appreciate the game that he was playing with me. And I always have. I know what time it is. So, this is me talking about it. This is me saying I'm in fear for my life in a big way. I'd like to hope he's not actually evil. I'd like to hope that we can exist in the world together. But I just don't know. So, I suppose I'll go. I don't have anything else to talk about, but right, we're talking about it every day, every other day, as much as I want, until we find some sort of amicable resolution. And so that, for me, is him releasing the footage from the screening of Jackie Brown. That's him telling the world what actually occurred with the movie, or that's him paying me a bunch of his money. And all of these things validate my existence in relation to him. That's the point. That's him saying, yes, I acknowledge this man. He lives in the universe with me. I don't subject his psychic and psychological and spiritual constitutions to disgusting psychic pressures that no court can ever try you on. So, hold those dear to you close. Right? Know that life is not an accident. Let me know what you think. God bless.